Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the life of a man whose shadow looms large over American history, George Washington. We all know him as the first president, the face on the dollar bill, but who was the man behind the legend? What truly made him the father of his country? Let's find out. Born in 1732 in Virginia, Washington wasn't born into the highest echelons of British aristocracy, but his family was well respected. From a young age, he showed a knack for leadership and the strong moral compass, qualities that would define his entire life. His early career as a surveyor taught him discipline and gave him an intimate knowledge of the American landscape, which would prove invaluable later on. His first real taste of military command came during the French and the Indian War. It was a trial by fire. He made mistakes, sure, but he also learned crucial lessons about military strategy, logistics, and most importantly, the resilience of the human spirit. These experiences forged him into the commander he would need to become. When tensions between the American colonies and the Great Britain boiled over, who did the Second Continental Congress turn to? They needed a leader who could unite 13 disparate colonies, a leader with military experience and the unwavering resolve. They chose George Washington to be the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. It was a monumental task, almost an impossible one. He was leading a ragtag army of farmers and the merchants against the most powerful military force on the planet. Defeat after defeat, from the Battle of Long Island to the bitter winter at Valley Forge, tested the limits of his leadership. The conditions were horrific. His soldiers were starving, freezing, and poorly equipped. Men questioned if the cause was lost. But through it all, Washington's spirit never broke. He shared his soldiers' hardships, his steadfast presence a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. He wasn't just a general, he was the glue holding the revolution together. One of his most legendary moments came on a frigid Christmas night in 1776. The cause was on the brink of collapse. Washington needed a victory, a bold stroke to ignite the revolutionary fire. He planned a daring, secret crossing of the icy Delaware River to launch a surprise attack on the Hessian forces in Trenton, New Jersey. The plan was audacious, bordering on reckless, but it worked. The stunning victory at Trenton, followed by another at Princeton, was a massive morale booster. It showed the world, and the colonists themselves, that the Continental Army could indeed stand and fight. It was a turning point, a testament to Washington's strategic genius and his willingness to take calculated risks when everything was on the line. Years of grueling warfare followed, but Washington's leadership, combined with crucial French aid, eventually wore down the British. The final, decisive victory came at the Siege of Yorktown in 1781. When British General Cornwallis surrendered, it effectively ended the war. America had won its independence, a feat that would have been unimaginable without a general who refused to quit. With the war won, you might think Washington would be ready for a quiet retirement at his beloved Mount Vernon estate, and he was. He famously resigned his commission as commander-in-chief, a shocking move in a world where victorious generals often cede power for themselves. He simply wanted to return to his life as a farmer. This act alone demonstrated his deep commitment to the Republican ideal that military power should be subordinate to civilian authority. But the young nation was fragile. The Articles of Confederation, the first governing document, proved to be too weak. The country was falling apart. So, once again, the nation called upon Washington. He presided over the Constitutional Convention in 1787. His calm and dignified presence lending legitimacy to the proceedings. Though he spoke little during the debates, his support was crucial for the ratification of the new Constitution, the very framework of the government we have today. And then came the ultimate call to service. In 1789, George Washington was unanimously elected as the first president of the United States. He wasn't just the first, he was the president. Every action he took, every decision he made, would set a standard for all future presidents. He had no more guide, no more playbook. He had to invent the presidency. As president, he assembled a brilliant cabinet, including rivals like Alexander Hamilton and Thomas Jefferson, believing that a diversity of opinions would lead to better decisions. He navigated the nation through treacherous foreign policy waters, maintaining a policy of neutrality in the wars between France and Britain. He also oversaw the establishment of the National Bank and the federal court system. He put down the Whiskey Rebellion, demonstrating that the new federal government had the strength to enforce its laws, a crucial step in establishing its authority. But perhaps his most significant contribution as president was his decision to step down after 2 terms. At the time, there was no more term limit. Many people wanted him to be president for life, Some even whispered about making him a king, but Washington vehemently rejected this. He understood the dangers of concentrated power and he was determined to prevent America from becoming a monarchy like the one they had just fought to escape. In his famous farewell address, he warned the nation against the dangers of political factions and he urged his fellow citizens to value national unity above all else. His peaceful transfer of power to John Adams established a tradition that has become a cornerstone of American democracy. It was the ultimate act of a servant leader, putting the good of the country before any personal ambition. After his presidency, Washington finally returned to Mount Vernon, the place he loved most. He spent his final years managing his estate and enjoying the life of a private citizen he had longed for. When he passed away in 1799, the nation mourned the loss of its indispensable man. He was a general who won a war, a president who built a nation, and a leader who, when offered a crown, chose to walk away. George Washington's legacy is immense. He wasn't a perfect man, no historical figure is. But his leadership, his integrity, and his unwavering commitment to the ideals of liberty and self-governance laid the foundation for the United States of America. He showed the world that a nation could be led not by a king, but by a citizen. And that is a legacy worth remembering and celebrating. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this journey into the life of George Washington interesting, please hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let me know in the comments which historical figure you'd like to see covered next. Until then, stay curious.